Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. Can we just get a thumbs up when you can hear us, please?
Yes, we can.
Thanks, Vicky. Okay, so I'm showing you can. Are you sharing the screen? Yes. Okay. So today we're talking about national funding opportunities. It's myself and Shannon and Dominique. I've added our email addresses behind our names, so you can at the end Whitney will share the slides with you, and you can find our contact details there. Next slide, Shannon. So I just to introduce myself, I'm Malin Fischer, and I've been working with this for 19 years. So there are several organisations that fund research in South Africa, and today we'll focus on the main funders. You'll see in this list the view at the bottom. Those we won't discuss in detail. They're all funders who prefer to insist that the grants are paid over as donations. So if you're interested in applying to them, please contact the advancement office. I've also added links to their websites in this slide. So we'll focus today on the NRF, and the NRF also acts as agent for the CSIR and SASL, the MRC, CANSA, OneTech, the WRC, and just a little bit about the HSRC. So just about the NRF, as always, it's good to know your funder and their goals. So and this was taken directly from the NRF website, and you can see this also at the bottom. What's important is that the NRF works with government funding, and their grants will always focus on building human capacity, so including students, and they the responsibility to the SA public. So science engagement and addressing the goals of government is important to them. So where can you find more information on NRF funding opportunities? We've included the URL, and at that URL you'll find the general application guide, and in Appendix 1 you can see all the calls that they plan to open in a year, with the open date that they sort of stick to, cut-off dates, and when you should get the results. Next slide. So this document is published in February each year, but it gets updated regularly. So please always go for the latest version. And on the same website, you can find the detailed call guides for each program. How do you apply to NRF? The NRF has moved to a new online system, NRF Connect, please make sure that you're registered on the system and that your CV is updated on the system. Okay, and then Dominique will go with early career.
Hi, my name is Dominique, and I'm just going to be talking about some of the programs that I work for. So firstly, we have Tutuka, which is a 3-year project funding for academic staff, either permanent or contract. And there are 3 funding categories. And then PhD, the first one is PhD, and which is to complete a PhD degree. Post-PhD, it's you have to have obtained your PhD no more than 5 years before the application date. And then the NRF rating track is it's different from the NRF rating itself. This category is for academic researchers who want to get back into academia. Let's say you've been out of research for an extended amount of time due to working in industry or raising a family, then you would be applying for this track. And for the eligibility, you have to be a South African citizen or permanent resident and younger than 45 years old. And this program works on a one-to-one institutional co-funding. Next slide, please. And the funding is a maximum of 100,000 Rand per year for running expenses and 50,000 Rand for equipment per year as well. And the institutional co-funding sources are as follows. As you can see, we have the subcommittees and then the faculties as well. And some departments also provide funding, but that's whether your department has funding or not. So this is the budget, and this is how you would work your budget around. So research equipment is 100,000, and then you can see all of the subcategories under running expenses. So for Tutuka, each year when it does open, we do have a workshop that we have every year to assist applicants on applying for the grant, because it's quite an extensive application. So I will send that when the call opens as well, and then we can go into the application in more detail. So the next one is the Black Academic Advancement Program. And this is funding for Black. So when it's Black, it's African, colored, and Indian, South Africans, citizens, and citizens with disabilities. And it's a max 3-year funding grant. And we have 2 categories, PhD, where you can ask for funding from 6 months to 3-year funding, and then post-PhD, which is 3 years funding. And you also have to have your PhD for no more than 5 years and younger than 45 for both categories. The funding is 100,000 for 3 years, per year for 3 years for running expenses, and 50,000 if you are applying for PhD for 6 months, and 200,000 per year for lecture replacement. And then the running expenses, you can include materials and supplies. As you can see, all of them listed, international travel, specifically for conferences, local travel, which can be conferences and research visits. You have your research equipment, science engagement, research assistance, and lecture replacement. This one is a closed course, the NGAP Research Development Grant, and this is specifically only for NGAP lecturers, and it also is in 2 tracks, PhD and post-PhD, and this is sent out every year, and it's only sent out to NGAP lecturers. And then I also work with travel funding, so travel, training, and conferences. The first one I'm going to talk about is KSC, which has 4 categories: individual travel grants for individual researchers to present at a scientific event, internationally or locally. And then we have visiting foreign researcher. It's that category is to host a researcher at Stellenbosch. African interaction is to travel to an African country for research collaboration. And NRF has a list of countries that you are eligible to apply for, and it changes each year, but it does come with the guidelines. And then we have hosting a local scientific event, which is hosting an event, a conference or workshop or seminar of a minimum of 50 participants. And this application opens twice a year. The first one in February, which covers travel between June and December of that year. And round 2 opens in August, which covers travel between January and June of the next year. And then we have the DSI NRF Conference Fund. So this is to host a large conference of a minimum of 500 participants. And it's a max of 2 million rand. And the categories that are funded is the venue, catering, marketing, reports, anything that you need, accommodation for keynote speakers, and all African participants only. And then you have bursaries to attend the conference, not scholarships. Yes, so it's quite a large application. Next. Then we have the IRTGs. So this is a fund to host a workshop specifically with a German partner to write a full IRTG proposal. And the next one we have International Science Council, which is funding to either attend or host a ISC conference or scientific event. And there is a list when the call comes out, there's a list of committees and organizations that fall under ISC. And then we have the equipment-related travel and training. This grant is specifically for people to attend a training on specialized equipment. So either to use specialized equipment within South Africa or internationally, or to attend training on how to use a specialized equipment that is not provided by your institution. Thanks. And then I also work with the bilateral calls, and the calls differ, the countries that NRF works with differs every year. The current calls that are open right now is the SA Belgium and the SA Swiss, and then we have the JINR Nuclear Russia call, and the DSI South Africa Japan call is open as well. And then we are also going to have the SA China and SA Tunisia, which are not open yet, but should open either this month or next month. And then lastly, I work with the HB and MJ Tom study leave. And this is for study leave of longer than 3 months, and specifically for C1 academic staff. And you have to have at least 30% of the study leave includes international travel. And it opens, it's a max of 80,000 Rand, and it opens in every year in October.
Okay, then I just want to say something about the NRF's SARCHI program, because I often these days get people asking, oh, how do I apply for SARCHI? Just a quick background. The first SARCHI grants were awarded in 2006, and then the total grant amount was 2.5 million Rand for a tier 1 chair, including bursaries. And in this year's call, the grant amount is to 2.18 million, excluding bursaries. So you can see that the grants hasn't grown. So a SARCHI grant from 2006 can't really compare or under one. Now it's now a much less desirable grant because the funding is not a lot, and in the budget, even though the TMRF insists that the SARCI grant holder, the salary must be funded from the grant. It can only contribute 700,000 rand, and the faculty must make up the rest. So, and because of this, this implied co-funding, the SARCI calls are always sent out via our deans just to make sure of the commitment for this co-funding. And also, the last time we had an open call where you could apply in any field. Was in 2015. Since then, we've only had very specific directed calls, and that was when the NRF could get funding from a source other than DSI for this. So, for instance, the Water Research Commission or SASOL. Or so just a quick word on SARCI, and we don't expect an open call within the next few years.
So hi guys, I'm Shannon Faru, and I work with a number of research grants. So the call that opened this year was support for rated researchers, which is for full-time employees that hold a valid NRF rating at the time of application. We've also had the support for unrated researchers who do not hold a valid rating at the time of application, as well as support for rated researchers that are Y-rated. These researchers have to hold a valid Y rating application at the time. Another thing just to take note is that Y-rated researchers can apply under the support for rated researchers and will be thrown into the general pool with the rest of the rated researchers. We also have the FBIP, so that's the Foundational Biodiversity Information Program, small grants that came out this year, as well as the New Earth Observation Frontiers or New Frontiers. They also open. These calls open around February, March each year, and they have already closed, unfortunately. Then we look at the CSIR Laser programs. So we've got the National Laser Center, which is a rental pool program. This program is focused on supporting laser-related research in all the research fields in the natural science, engineering, and health science fields. The fund allows access to equipment for the use of the host institution of the applicant or for access to equipment housed at the CSIR NLC facilities. The call we are expected to get soon, and it is administered through the NRF. Then we also have the African Laser Center. This is a research collaboration program. The grant scheme focuses on the promotion of laser and laser-related research on the African continent with the purpose to stimulate and grow laser research programs within the African continent. The fund will allow research collaborators and students/researchers to exchange participating institutes. And then the call has just opened, and the internal closing date is the 18th of October. So please bear in mind the internal closing date. Then I also work with the SAMRC, and this grant or this organization provides funding for health research both locally and internationally to access necessary resources and facilities. The one application that opens every year is the Self-Initiated Research or CSIR grant program, which is designed to support original research in various areas. The areas listed below were the 2022 focus areas. Then applications are invited for two different categories, which is early career researchers and mid-level and established researchers. You can see in the block below that this explains which category is which. The MRC also does ask if you put in the wrong category, they will notify you that you have put in the wrong category. This call actually focuses on early career researchers, although mid-level and established researchers are also invited to apply, but the clear focus of capacity development must be demonstrated in your application. The call opens generally around May and it closes around June. Just regarding the budget, it's 200,000 per year for 3 years. So the total budget for the 3 years will then be 600,000 maximum. With regards to eligibility criteria, it's generally aimed to investigators in South Africa, universities and other public organizations. It's for South African citizens and permanent residents only. You have to be permanently employed at the recognized research institution or at least have a long-term contract for the duration of the program. For early stage investigators, there must be a commitment from the institution to host the applicant and the project for the duration of the grant. Then we will move on to allowable costs. For this year, the allowable cost was consumables or running costs, and those listed there. You also had research travel to a maximum of 40,000 Rand, research assistantship to a maximum of 20,000 Rand per year, minor equipment to a maximum of 20,000, and bursary supplementation to a maximum of 20,000 per year. If you guys want more information, you can follow the link that has been inserted into the presentation. Then I also work with CANSA. So we are looking here at type A projects, which is aimed at MBCHB and PhD cancer researchers at South African university and research organizations. So CANSA has a number of focus areas, which I have listed below. Just a quick note that CANSA is not opening a call in 2022 for funding in 2023. Moving on to CANSA's eligibility, only applicants from South Africa that are South African citizens and permanent residents, proof of permanent residency must be provided. Full-time employment, at least 80% of the principal investigator's time in South Africa is required. An applicant must be an independent researcher, preferably with a PhD. Although applications from clinical researchers holding an MBCHB or equivalent degree with evidence of leading research projects and further authored publications in accredited peer-reviewed publications will also be considered. What will CANSA fund? Projects to a maximum of 1 million per year for 3 years, so it will be a total of 3 million for the 3 years. They will fund 75% of the total grant, with 25% coming from the relevant institution. So it will be a maximum of 1 million per applicant, with the condition that 25% comes from, for the 3 years, comes from the affiliated institution. CANSA's allowable costs, so that will be research assistants, consultants, equipment for major or specialized equipment, running expenses, printing or publication expenses, travel for conferences and presentation, and visiting collaborators. So I've just included CANSA's link there as well, although they will not be opening a call for this year. You can still go on their site and check it out. Then we've got WineTech. So WineTech acts in the interest of the South African wine industry and will be guided in the consideration of any application by whether the specific research technology transfer or training will contribute to the creation and application of technology which may result in winning advances in the marketplace. The call for 2022, this is just a quote from there so that you guys can read it, and there's the website as well. Then we move on to the Water Research Commission. So there's annual calls or directed calls for 4 strategic areas. 1 and 2 are water resources and ecosystems. 3 is water use, wastewater resources and sanitation features. 4 is water utilization and in agriculture. And I've given the link as well so that you can go on the website and see which calls are open.
Okay, just something quickly on the DSI HRC interns. So this used to be the DST NRF interns, but last year they moved to the HRC. It's an opportunity to host interns funded by the HRC for a period of 2 years. We had a call last year, and they confirmed yesterday that the next call will only open in 2023. So in 2021, I'm 78 Stellenbosch hosts registered their intent to house up to 136 interns, and we submitted that, and then we were awarded only 13 positions, of which 8 are with a bachelor's degree, and 3 for interns with an honours degree, and only 2 for interns with a master's degree. And just to paint a picture how competitive it is, in that call, the HSLC received over 2,700 intern requests from 140 institutions, and they could only fund 400. So that's a quick overview over the national funders. And we're ready to take questions from you. And see any Prof. Magie and then Prof. Hines.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive presentation. I've got 2 main questions. One is related to the NRF bursaries. I have picked up with regard to some of our projects that are funded by NRF, that with regard to master's and PhD students, the age is actually has dropped down, whereby I think for master's students, you cannot have a master's student who her age or his age is over 32. And for PhD, it is, for master's, I think it's around 28, and for PhD is around 32. And we actually find that quite challenging, especially where women are concerned, because women were always behind in terms of academic progress. So now for a National Research Foundation to say that, especially in terms of transformation, you actually have got this very narrow age bracket. I actually did find it challenging, and I was wondering if our institution cannot write something to NRF, pledging them that, yes, we actually do understand the need for really empowering younger people with funding, but we also acknowledge our past with regard, especially women, as well as people of color, that really people might just be quite behind. And is it possible that there could be maybe a 75% younger people and another 25% being a bracket for more people who actually started a bit later? And then my second issue is actually related to the NRF rating. And when I got my rating, I only got 50,000. And I just wanted to understand, is this the only amount of money which one gets from NRF rating? Or did I miss something? Yes, so those are the 2 questions that I have.
I'll quickly respond to those. Just on the last one, you were referring to the NRF what do you call it? Incentive fund, and that's the NRF a few years ago made a decision because they were oversubscribed and they had budget problems to only provide the 15,000 rand link to rating. But you can, of course, this is and that's the non-competitive funding. but as a rated researcher, you can compete in the open call for rated researchers. Then just on the bursaries, yes, we've provided that exact feedback to the NRF even before they finalised the new funding scheme for bursaries. And in the meantime, at every opportunity that we get, we provide the feedback. That I know that the SARTI grant holders as a group also provided this feedback, but the NRF was just I'm taking our advice. So that's unfortunately that's where we are in the hands of the funder and their goals and their priorities. But we'll continue to give this feedback to the NRF, because we totally agree with you, Professor Majid. Professor Haynes.
Hi, thanks. In your discussion of funding related to travel and training, there was some information about collaboration with Africa and African researchers. And I've never heard of any of those schemes before. Where can I find out some more information on those?
If you'd like, I can send it to you. So it's part of the KIC call.
Because I can't even find that on the NRF website at the moment. But I will. Okay, so it falls within KIC.
Yes.
I would be very grateful if you could send that to me, because I have a lot of stuff going on with other people in Africa at the moment, so it would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's good to hear, Delia. Dr. Gilmore.
Hi, yes, I would also just like to comment on NRF bursaries for postgrad students with regard to accommodation. The bursaries, the partial cost bursaries, they are not enough to cover accommodation, private accommodation in Stellenbosch. And the postgrad students are also not allowed to have university accommodation in Stellenbosch for more than a certain number of years. So I have the case of a student now who needs to live far away. The entire bursary is being spent on accommodation, and now he can't afford to come to Stellenbosch anymore. So this is more something inside the university that maybe it can be arranged that students can have university accommodation with NRF bursaries.
We'll give the feedback to the bursary office. They're unfortunately not here today, but yeah, definitely we can put you in contact with them.
Okay.
About the options for students.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Any more hands?
Marlene is one in the chat box.
Chat, okay, let's see what's in the chat.
Okay.
Dr. Mel. Joins on my own. Can be used for page fees. Yes, so the funding for page fees came from the DVC research, and his budget was limited. We'll see with a new DVC whether she'll be able to put aside funding for this. But yeah, that's also our SAS funds, which goes to the departments via our subcommittees, are also intended for these type of costs, and we see that our departments tend to accumulate this funding rather than spend it. So please talk to your HOD about the S funds and whether there's something available still for publication costs. But yeah, there's no other source for publication costs. And the NRF also don't fund it, which doesn't make sense, but that's a fight we still need to fight with them. Anybody else? Okay. Seems
I have got a conference, a Pan-African conference
yes.
in November, December 2023. But this conference is really not going to pitch up to 500 plus delegates, but it might pitch up between 250 and 300 delegates, more or less which funding stream can I try to apply for this conference within NRF or beyond. I'm also going to try MRC, but maybe within NRF, which funding stream can I?
I would say the KSC one, yeah, that's a better one, because with the large conferences, they're very strict on the amount of participants. It has to be more than 500. So if you have between 250, I think the KSC one would be better to apply for.
And also MRC is a good option to talk to.
Yeah.
Anything else? Prof. Majigi, yeah, okay, load your hand. Anybody else still? I think after George's question, we didn't have anything.
No, nothing.
Okay, great. I think then we'll conclude. And just please remember, we're here for you. And please write us an email if you've got further questions. And we're now also back at the office, so you can pop in if you want to. We're here for you. Okay. Thank you, everybody.